Hello guys, and welcome back to Boho Jewel. My name is Sandra Bells, and today I want to share with you how I make these cute little resin rainbow pendants. So I was really excited to figure out how to do this, and I wanted to share with you how I get the little rainbow glitters lined up without them ending up being really floaty, how you can get the lines and the stripes in there. And of course you can make them in any kind of shape you want using a resin casting mold. And so I've already pre-mixed, and I'm going to share with you how I make this happen. So now, if you have some experience with resin, you know that you mix your resin has a certain amount of dry time before it's not workable anymore. Just ignore these other pieces. So your resin usually, depending on the brand that you use, and I am using the amazing clear cast resin. Let me get that in the camera for you. Amazing clear cast. That's the one that I've been using a whole lot, and I really enjoy it. I get consistent results from it. So there's usually a dry time of about 30 to 40 minutes when the resin really isn't workable anymore. So what I have figured out to do with this is I went ahead and poured several molds ahead of time, and I let it sit for 20 minutes. And 20 minutes seems to be a good amount of time, about 20-25 minutes. I set a timer for the resin to start setting up just a little bit, but it's not completely impossible for the glitter to sink in, and at the same time it's not going to bleed. You're not going to get the different colors bleeding through. So I left just a little still to show you how much I fill the mold up. I'm trying to make sure I get it in the camera so you can see it well. So this one I've already filled, and I don't know how well it's going to show, but you always want to mix your resin really well. Make sure both sides of your resin are mixed, and see, this has already been sitting, so it's a little thicker than normal. A little escapey piece of glitter there. That'll be okay. So you see how thick it's already getting here in the cup, but I wanted to leave a little bit aside to show you the whole process. And it's just enough. Perfect. So what I do is I fill the mold to almost full, not completely full. I'm going to see if I can get it in the camera for you to see a little better. So I fill the molds, and since the resin is clear, it's hard for it to read, but almost full. So not all the way up to the brim, because for one thing, when you pour the glitter in, you want to leave some room. The glitter's going to make, it's going to take up space. So it's going to make it fill up a little bit more. And then I also like to leave a little room because just like I have on these are unfinished as of yet, I used glitter on these, and I like to add a layer of resin on top of these kind of pieces just to smooth it out and seal it up, because you can feel the glitter and it's rough, and just to make it look a little more finished. That's just kind of personal preference. So just fill this one. So I'm going to show you what I do, and I think I can just leave that there and start with this one. Now this is Recollections glitter, and I got it at Michael's, but it's kind of fun because it's got all the different rainbow colors in there. And they're neon colors, so super bright. But you can also get, you mix it up, do different colors. You can get lots. I like these glitters. I actually find these in the scrapbook section. So I like to use them for my resin because they show up real nicely. They've got a nice weight to them, but they're a nice fine glitter. So I'm going to start with the red. I'm going to go ahead and do a traditional rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Everybody always forgets indigo. So this is just a matter of practice, like everything else. Reopen. And I just create my line. And go ahead and fill it up pretty good, because it will sink down some. So you don't want it to be too transparent. And then orange. And it's okay to go a little over top of your... Trying to look in the camera and at what I'm doing. It doesn't work so good, but it's okay if you have a little bleed over. So it's okay if you layer it over top the back a little bit, just like that. It doesn't have to be a perfect line, because it will, depending on your shapes too, it'll bleed together just enough to get it to blend really nicely. And let's find our yellow. And if you layer the colors on top of each other just a little bit, you will get that nice kind of ombre effect. That nice blend. Green. This has been used quite a bit, so the glitter's starting to get toward the bottom. Green. Blue. Where's my blue? And it's funny that this is all the rainbow colors, but they're not in order. So you have to kind of pay attention. Up, up, up. And then let me see if I have enough space to slip my violet down in the bottom for my violet to show. And that is basically it. So you can see right here where the red's already starting to sink down some, and it will. And at this point, you just let it sit and let it sink down. You can mix up the colors. You can do whatever you want to do with this. It's kind of fun. So again, with resin, because I've poured several pieces ahead of time, and anytime you do a resin piece, you want to make sure that you're doing several pieces at once, because again, once the resin is poured, it has a short shelf life. So you have to kind of plan ahead how many pieces you're going to do and get them all done ahead of time. You're not going to do one piece and that's it. So if you want to experiment with this and say you have other pieces like I have here, one thing I would recommend with the glitter, which I didn't do here because I'm not too stressed out about it. I tend to not stress too much when I get creative. Is, you know, maybe you want to cover these other pieces if you have other pieces, or do just a tray of glitter, because if you've ever worked with glitter, you will know that it, or if you have girls, young girls, children, you'll know that glitter has a tendency to explode and get everywhere. So if you're working with glitter, it might be a good idea to just focus on the glitter for that day and keep other stuff out of the way. Oh, so that got a little crazy, but it's okay. It's actually okay because it'll be behind the blue. So don't stress out about it too much. Don't panic, because it does blend really nicely. And you see the finished pieces, and then of course, once you pop your finished pieces out, you can take an emery board and clean up the edges a little bit. I always like to put a clear glaze on my pieces just to protect them a little bit, and then you can glue the little bails on back and create a lovely little necklace, or put a magnet on the back and create magnets with these. So that is basically it. And you can see, we'll come back over here and you can see where the glitter is sinking down. So then it's just going to continue to sink down, and it pretty much stays in the lines. And on this one you can really see where this is actually the bottom of the tray, and you can see where, you know, it sat long enough that the glitter kind of stayed at the top here, but when you look at it, you know, the resin tends to magnify, kind of like if it's behind glass, so it doesn't look like it's just on that little layer. So it just depends on the resin you're working with, and this one it blended down further a little more. It depends on the resin that you're working with and how long you let it sit, but you get that really pretty rainbow effect, which is a lot of fun, and you can play with that and do some other ombre effects with various colors. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know if you try it, and I do have a couple of these in my Etsy shop as well, so if you don't want to make them or if you're struggling, or if you need one speedy quick, I do have these in my Etsy shop, Boho Jewel on Etsy. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon.